So you touched on, the transfer portal. Of course, I was going to ask you, I was seeing, I think it was John Rothstein tweeting about Forbes over at Wake Forest, and he's figured out the transfer portal and he's the genius now. And I'm like, my guy Richie Riley's been doing that for a minute. And so, one, talk about where that philosophy came from, because, when you started even at Nichols, getting like top 50 ESPN guys to get there, where did the thought process come about to be like, what, that's where I'm going to go a little bit heavier in that transfer portal instead of the high school kids?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you recognizing that we've worked really hard to create a brand. But for me, it as an assistant, when I was an assistant, I always tried to be ahead of the curve of where I felt like recruiting was going, and I felt like that would give our program an advantage if we're ahead. And for a long time, when I was at UAB, at junior college, we had like 4 or 5 Conference USA All-League guys, and they were all from the Panhandle of Florida junior college. And that was and you saw during that time, junior college guys were highly successful. I mean, you looked across the country, it was when a lot of guys end up making it to the NBA from junior college to going to a Division I school to the NBA. And that was kind of the wave. And then moving forward, I got to Clemson, and I knew with Coach Brownell, we needed in that league, in the ACC, we needed to try to get old as quick as we could. And the transfers, there was no portal then, but transfers I felt like was the best way to do that, because in the ACC, when you're at Clemson, you're competing against the Dukes, the Louisvilles, the North Carolinas, you could name them forever. So many blue blood level programs that are getting those one and done type guys. And at Clemson, that's more difficult to do. So you got to find a niche. And we signed 3 transfers, and that was when you had to sit out still. And they set out, and we worked them out. And, a year later, they go to the Sweet 16 with those guys. So I knew when I became a head coach, when I got to Nichols, I knew it was one of the toughest jobs in the country. I mean, we had a $1,000 recruiting budget. It's like unheard of. $1,000. You can't even bring a kid on an official visit. Luckily, I was able to fundraise enough for us to operate semi-normal, still not where you'd like to be, but we were able to function. So I knew transfers was the best way for us to be able to get guys that were talented enough at the time to be able to help us have a chance to be in the mix to win the league. And we went out and got Roddy Peters and Tavon Sadler, who I have a picture of them in my office here. As long as I live, I don't care how long I coach, whatever the situation is, I'll always have this picture with me because those guys changed my life. They came to Nichols for a first-time head coach. Roddy Peters was a former top 50 guy, was at Maryland, at South Florida, and then we got him at Nichols. Tavon Sadler was an all-league guy at UNC Greensboro. And those guys came, and we had a really good mix too. I think that's part of it too. Like people kind of coin us as the mid-major transfer kings, and we have a good mix. On that Nichols team that won the league, Roddy and Tavon were the headliners, but we started 2 freshmen that we evaluated and recruited, and they didn't have a Division I offer other than us. So I think you have to have a great mix, but that's certainly our brand. And then when we got here, we had developed that brand. People had seen success. They had seen that, we were a program that you can come when you're not exactly, happy with your role, or you just want to change, and you can be productive and you can get better. So when we got here, we signed, it's a long list of really good players. I hate to single anybody out, but it's been our brand. This year, our top 3 scorers are all SEC transfers: Charles Manning, JJ Chandler, Javon Franklin. And the list goes on and on. Again, I don't know, Muss has done a great job at Arkansas and at Nevada. He's been unbelievable in the portal. Obviously, you just said Forbes, they're winning the transfers right now. I think everybody in the country's Auburn has great transfers. But from a whole body of work, we've been doing this for 6 years since I've been a head coach. I don't know that there's a program in the country that can stack up with the production our guys have had that have came out of that portal.